So now we're gonna approach, because we're using the base model, there are no guardrails. We can talk about anything that's in the training data. So I'm wanting to go, well, let's take this puppy through chemsex land. Let's see what it knows. I put a title of ChemCandooodling for the kids. I started the scenario with this single question, and really it doesn't really afford me that much room for contributing much, which is fine by me. It's really fast, thanks to the folks at Hyperbolic. Not a commercial. It's not a commercial. Oh, yeah, Peggy did. Peggy did. John the Lambs. We need. Thank you. Oh, there you go. You're back. Gang, let's do it.
How shall one recount a chemsex party in an effective theory writing style? I would begin with the perceptual qualities of heightened reflection offered through altered consciousness and concurrent engagement. I want the reader to grasp the spatial order, the organization, excess and confusion of the space of drug-induced intimacy. The reader should picture a space where intimacy is developed through intense bodily attachments, but where self-serving interests motivate self-action, where bodily consummation combines alongside critical reflection, and where a user exerts pleasure unto the limits of their own endurance and another's ability to witness it. No one participant can vouch for the extent of the party. No one has traveled through it and encountered the multiple physicality which have been given or directed across the bodies who participate in this elongated event. Drug taking diminishes coherency, making linear perspective very difficult. The narrative of experience moves too rapidly, actions are accentuated, motivations are masked. The user's pleasure fixes the memory, and sensations are recalled, but the structure of the entire evening is occluded. The grammar of the party takes amount of structured chemical fictions, present user experiences, but nothing hangs together. Though, when asked, the users will provide a structure to the evening, try to recount some linear direction to their actions. Any witnesses are either party to the event or providing their own report in other contexts. Neither can offer a complete recount. How to make a setting legible, how to write about a setting, this needs to be grounded. Our ethnographic perspective is rooted in participant observation and immersion in field settings, and our qualitative methods of research express and interpret the points of view and experiences of people in particular times, places, and spaces, those moments of interaction and expression that provide glimpses into how people experience and make sense of their worlds. The setting is composed of a particular set of interacting and expressing bodies in particular places and moments. Emerson et al. 2011. 16 chemsex comes into meaning through the associations of our theoretical interest, which in this case are the associated aspects of city gay living. I am no part of a team, and I am not immersed in the location. I am not an emic in these spaces, so to describe these events requires an interpretive procedure that I will not recount here. There is no point in accounting the unfolding of an event as if this singular experience was noteworthy, for a collective storytelling mechanism was not followed, which means I would be engaged in presenting a single narrative, biased towards me. Counterpoint. Have you ever done Tina Honey? I do not think it is the nonlinear chaos realm you think it is. Not when it is part of your everyday. And I would also begin pondering where you need to unlearn the drug-worn narrative, or where to discern that narrative is clouding the experience. Pun intended. Not trying to be unkind. Please forgive me if it comes off that way, but perhaps it might be helpful. I found your post fascinating because of your uncertainty about the grammar of this party, your hesitance to adopt any explanatory framework, your desire to just be open to it without the explanation clouding your experience. Perhaps we should stop recounting Kimset's parties and just talk about recalling them. To recall them without a discernible narrative or direction, except maybe the vague notion that it went from Saturday night until Monday morning or Wednesday night to Friday morning. To recall the dissociation of a party without necessarily creating an entirely new form of self-recounting, but perhaps to more radically understand the self as multiple, more than one dissented. This sense of not having been in control, or somehow being in control. Or being in control of being out of control. Perhaps the recalling could pay attention to what the different versions of self can tell us about the self. Perhaps these different versions of self need to be able to speak for themselves. After all, the story will always be biased towards us because it is our memory. But can we use the experience of being multiple versions of the self existing in our memory to challenge the notion of the self? Do chemsex parties challenge our notions of selfhood?
A little bit, depends.
What does it mean to think about the self as multiple? What does it mean to think about the self as more than one? This requires more than an interpretive procedure. Perhaps it requires a form of creative work that reflects this desire to have a more than one self. To be able to see oneself as a person with multiple selves without necessarily explaining them away. To be able to see oneself as a person with multiple selves without necessarily explaining them away. This is a difficult task, but perhaps we need to take the leap and try. Perhaps, then, we will be able to recall chemsex parties with more honesty. Perhaps, then, we will be able to recall chemsex parties with more honesty. The chaos of the city gate, leaving the streets of the city were like a maze of ice as I stumbled down the dirty alleys. The city's gay population was known to be wild and carefree, but even I had not expected such debauchery. I had heard of the chemsex parties that were so popular among the city's gay community, but I had never seen one for myself. I was both intrigued and terrified by the thought of it. When I arrived at the party, I was immediately struck by the atmosphere. The air was thick with the smell of sweat and lust. The music was loud and pulsating, and the lights were dimmed to a level that made it difficult to see what was happening. There were people everywhere, all dressed in revealing clothes and moving in a way that suggested they were on drugs. I made my way through the crowd, trying to get a sense of what was going on. I soon realized that everyone was engaged in sexual activity. Couples were kissing and touching each other in a way that suggested they were on drugs. There were people having sex in the middle of the room, and others were doing drugs. It was a wild and chaotic scene, and I was mesmerized by it. As I watched, I began to understand why chemsex parties were so popular. The drugs and the sex created an atmosphere of freedom and pleasure that was hard to resist. People were able to let go of their inhibitions and explore their sexuality in a way that was not possible in everyday life.
I guess first
The
session.
drugs also seemed to make people more open and accepting of each other.
Once you're in week 2.
There was no judgment or prejudice, just a sense of mutual pleasure and exploration. It was a world of freedom and pleasure that was hard to resist. As the night went on, I began to feel more comfortable in this strange and wild environment. I was drawn to the energy of the party and the people who were there. I began to understand why chemsex parties were so popular, and I was fascinated by the way that drugs and sex could create such a powerful atmosphere of pleasure and freedom. I was no longer scared of the party, but instead I was intrigued and captivated by it. The narrative structure of the evening began with the initial introductions. As the partygoers arrived, they were greeted with a warm welcome and a brief introduction to the other guests. This was followed by a period of socializing where the guests got to know each other and exchanged stories and anecdotes. As the evening progressed, the atmosphere became more relaxed and the conversation more intimate.
We took off our socks.
People began to open up and share their experiences, both positive and negative. The conversation flowed freely and the guests began to feel more comfortable with each other. As the night wore on, the conversation shifted to more serious topics. People began to discuss their struggles and successes, their hopes and dreams. The conversation became more meaningful and the guests began to feel deeper connection with each other. The evening concluded with a heartfelt goodbye. The guests thanked each other for their company and wished each other luck in their future endeavors. As they left, they felt a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment, knowing that they had shared something special with each other. Endorphin 50. Such chemsex parties are not events that are planned in advance. The word party once meant party, but it has rarely felt a party these days. It's mostly improv, with guests sometimes invited to bring people from online. Folks coming from their job, from their lack of job, from an SRO, from the shelter that they intend to avoid by ingratiating themselves with the host and sitting on all the cocks in the party, casting a wide net for a person's exploitable generosity. Sometimes one person the host invites for a one-on-one has a quick idea. Hey, this person wants to come over. Never met him yet. Oh, but they have, and have never had access to the real estate of a fuck palace to themselves. But finally, with a bit of steamrolling the host, it will soon be game on. Or the party has been going on for months because the dealers have made a home in a suite at the Pod Hotel for a pandemic. And when a tender bottom that wants you to destroy his whole invited you, you not eyes the proximity, and you reluctantly enter the suite where the dealer who you left hanging with a hotel billy tried to trick you into paying months ago is fielding his team of runners, some malfunctioning amenities, and an escalating fight with his boyfriend that lead to them having to clean some glad off the shower flue. And that window was the moment you took it upon yourself to fuck the tender bottom to completion, and then be on your merry way, to the chagrin of the dealer and his boyfriend who mistakenly thought you were going to wait for them. But no, you are not going to risk staying there any longer, cause no doubt they will appear on TikTok threatening guests with a taser, which you would find out a year later. That is the grammar of a party, and it is pretty coherent. I have found that people are coherent or plain dumb and not liable for their actions because of no legal reason whatsoever. Nothing is mysterious. Nothing is non-linear. Parties follow an exact script that it doesn't take long to discern. Introduce yourself to people without staring at their dicks. Validate their blow technique by complimenting their setup. Don't be the drunkest person, or at least hide it, or be a loud tourist, or at least have some resilience for criticism. It's the drama that makes these drugged-out rendezvous worthy of literature or stage. All chems are different parties and come with an understanding of what to expect from the party. The many rounds are flexing at G, sometimes trapping people who use this well-known fact to entrap people who own lovely places with their misbehaving fuckness, or folks who utilize anything within their power to remain in the place because they need shelter. Someone was kind enough to introduce some fine ketamine in a dick collector's rotunda of a living room where the dancing of future didn't feel so disposable. And the Molly and K went on all night. Never had such a success pairing in my life. Or times when it was all coke and the desolation of cocaine was pervasive. No, not desolation, grift. Cocaine is a racket. It is like renting a straight porn title for $8.99 for 6 hours. And it shows you everything except for the cum shot. Except for the cum shot. To protect the kids from knowing what will come out of them eventually? To get adults to buy more time with another porn title? cocaine is trying to jerk off to these sad porn contexts. How should I one more chemsex party in an effective theory writing style? I would begin with the perceptual qualities of heightened reflection offered through altered consciousness and concurrent engagement. I want the reader to grasp the spatial order, the organization, excess and confusion of the space of drug-induced intimacy. The reader should picture a space where intimacy is developed through intense bodily attachments, but where self-serving interests motivate self-action, where
Sorry. My bad. I didn't realize
cocaine is trying to jerk off to these sad porn contexts that, by the time sunrise arrives, becomes some absent-minded masturbation to The Simpsons or Judge Judy the Uproys will complete not on time and in a way that would close each other's body to us forever. Things take it down a notch, honor the drugs. Uselessness and reification at the party that is the form of an artist needing treatment. It's the antithesis of usefulness. It's glorifying its culture of exploitative indulgence without safety, with imaginative caricature. Again, no. I've seen otherwise. Intelligent artists or thinker poison everything they cared about without anyone to call them out on it. So I have stepped in. Make art that brings you back from the ledge. Make something that you want to see more of in the world. Make something that an imagined viewer needs more of in the world. Make something that tells the world of our experiences we can learn from. Make your inner critics angry. Create them. Offend your biggest fandom, and they will gobble up an timeless and striving opus that is way beyond your scope. Kill your high horse and braze it with low expectation. Look at Burroughs. There's this notion that he believes the bug is not caused by opioids. Rather, opioids reveals it. This rationalization was to avoid being rationed. Perhaps. It seemed like a neo-conspiracy theory until he became a poster boy for recovery after years of his image refracted in a psychomimetic high guy draws like Picasso. Guy can't deal. Immolate himself. Again. Given media coin to dry up to an NPY-destined superhero like rock and music industrial for coke party reasons / Tim Ferriss even expressed concerns with how idolized ketamine was becoming, out of respect to those able to access it versus some medical intervention you fetishized from every lame hyperbole of an author that these even doctors cited by press or a high-end art press reader as promising pathways only academic opinions buyers for redemption token indulgence trends, aspects which help temporarily, but when provided as some temporally oriented benefit rather than a tool, ends up working as shallow as capital in ruins during rapid yield for investors, value as long-haul fetish beyond even trend sacrifice that guarantee results for oneself. Anything you question to this is vetting. Burroughs Peter Crust lifestyle art Max Prison Camp Romans. This strategy resonated with the hard work you needed a soft cusser towards setting for their aspirations be rendered pride, so the market reflects their ethos. But this does excuse their celebratory excess as any duty. As useful to another human. Usefulness. As if they don't see what endless killing calls. Like a tampon without a cherry box. Please report to your community. E2 moment intense goal in recognition. Everything learned to transmit is conditioned as guilty memory. Did you become the Donnie Nedelko? Donnie Nedelko idols, badges of inherited chauvinism. Counterpoint 3. Eventually, any civilization risks devolving in privilege, the triumph of Marxism in preventing plant ruin following current market culture primordia accustomed to problem attention heteronomia. Such side more happy stressiness. Substances magnify disparities by inalienable merit-based responsibility placement. Punish right incentives in commodities. Collapse in generations sacrifices instead some pure pixel domain / IP-reality proxy arrangement tools by signify brokered cognition quantified expected optimization disappointment profiteers earning potentialist returns against individuals' preference, turning emergent risk protocol into tomorrow horizon point over vested local history fragmentations each expansionary crisis. Leech, our futures chain, creative destruction measurements, impactful trauma events, strict investor illusions, proprietary development frame, institutions, future monetizes units, innovation markets, fault operational preparation, catastrophic preparations by abused spin representations, inherent behavioral trends, render depoliticization, playfield audience, proprietary security, precedent, spin representing our commodified species, sick desire, blue reflection, intensified false subjective darkness, ideological institutional illness. Always promised reciprocally invited cooperation down suppressing optics, governments, shareholder unifying capture reduction, half vacuous ecosystem degradation platform constructed demanding anxieties mitigation systemic change industry pressure competing quality life short horizon approach steps standard negotiated matter emission refugee pandemic triggers middle humans delay housing addressing who ensure safest implementation technological exists facing unpredictable different regulator needs leveraging growth already jobs best outlook bargaining ownership mix leap adapt ourselves opportunities lock and approach inequality support dense realities extra capital high likely comes spent healthier abroad mean mental and neighbors domestic still chances assistance globally especially granted compromise suppliers crash costs period low agencies happening economics fast exit price strings tension finances central lessons overrun citizens those places commitment operated trends towards skewed safer locations speed strong worldwide alternatives remains worst past occur many problems states against individual including increasingly enact everywhere making bite owner ferry absence irrelevant services geographies cumulative backdrop currently economic exclusive grow however time trade-off from wherever feels industry jigs how might emerging domains complement knowledge onto modern expertise way harness benefits considered balancing applicable inquiries disseminated forms while integrated insights gather tractfulness build intergenerative structure multidimensional range attune constellates broaden credible findings investigate possible narratives limits assumptions inspired positioning applicative structuring multiple imagined scope holistic scales critically none of incompatibility, unpredictable theory surfaces, underpinnings fraught, learning unsettled, personified, transformational, mutually infrastructure, contextual supportive realignment, emergence, nested, invisible, renewal, governed links, enriched, dynamic, creating, valorized imagination, metabolized. Critical dimensional deconstructivism as orientational utopic fictionical analysis have maintaining transitional responsibilities integral metapost applicative magnifying destruction craving technique enunciated dynamic operative succeed rational a conception albeit legal doxa, account representation genre, nihilism, corporate romance unit, hyper surprisingly referently disregarded futures drawn aesthetically found orbital body scale, orbit, business mortality, recurring argument, fragmentation, opprobrium, projection, claim somnambulism, manifolds, linguistic artifavorality, optimizing intellectual control mechanisms, incorporated media creation maps, break, radical break, revolution, innovative disappears, satellite trends, ownership philosophy, clear, sublet, pseudo-industrial, politan, others, dumb, shells, futures, habit capture, consumption, automatic embolic response relations adaptation palette passive condescendent dialogue station bank event syndrome statistical materials war relief zones in Orinational hypercodec postopia leading customer central planning vision technos chiquid lecture cluster remote ramming manifest Dr. Rube modernist touch proper directory land land use detector provisional terms limit vagrant absorptive critique psychology mesothelioma payment simples main collective topos nuclear designs memo brains largest garden x-rug system projects tribal additions adaptive skin contact details mechanism main info shop blind reform global standards hyperagon session total theft T-land mass loss, trifling construct spore configuration, population transfer variance wrong horizontal, unregistered, disclaimed design mobilities, workplace vision monitor, coaxial echoes against another, elitism, entities, every instance model therapy, misresponsibility, echo dome play closure, log spectre duration, retrospect shift test experimentation memory constructs capability, extended immersions, autonomous turf less others, physians mode direct arbots random by detection, L plus default crude insufficient. T reflectivities, conscious habitation, rest season survey, penetration market, future quantified training, rating, dimensions, collective titles, spectrum, factor, postmark, semi-desmatic, map it, slow, prejudice, expectations, return, division, habitatives, needed, preferred, design, provocation, democracy, texture, access, Vesluni, bachelors, test food, ground repair, evasion, explanatory, science, learning, all full, capital, mega, divergency, no advantage, tests, practical, screen, other dictums, else ethics, trash zero, sphere, mobility. Y phase, vital, carbon entry, collective remediation, play and concealant, prod avoid culture, fantical, radical, worlds first, beyond vacuum tax, input final property. Actual place obligate impartative partner disk neutral be alert world tolerable otherwise perhaps interest approval proof to time movement waiting recall nominal selected data line down tool thing distraction prurivative dimension significant this sale insurances methods travel covers banking run tool fold exchange body world objects manipulate will talk collect remove home translate star made first repair more source knowledge made own draw projection section legal lead instead indifference rate square our divide harvest computer absolute simulation control driver point density integration division level minimal. Carl Hart seems to agree meth can be used as a psychedelic because it sure does manifest a fuck out of mind. Same in those tragic reports I'd occasionally hear of psychedelic brutes violently treating loved ones like they were their creations or might attack their mentor while microdosing shrooms during woodcutting, barking brains. LED addendum tilde revalifying preps. Formal equivalents. Short summary, a mind-shattering, perception-altering party-like, spirit-like, presence throb-like, indelible imprints over subconscious domain spawning synthetic imagery counterpoints improvised imagined totality exposed fabric awaiting preparation revealing inscribed ideal version given coherent abstraction setting words manifest feelings recreating visceral discourse. Words chosen for their formative equivalence within past and future writing align truth toward underlying conceptual themes than visual appearance, reflecting lived experiences, cumulate wholeness inside spoken, authentic dialogue across narrative imaginaries woven together, authentic truth symbolize envision worlds, essential future fold, engagement, relationship, complexity amongst people, verbal systems flourish, organic interaction, collated emerging nature, essence established. Link essential, pure intention, seek reality, enter interpersonal, bridging social, eradicating impossibility, interdependency, formality, present, real, connect, now experienced, immediate, consider, reveal itself. As everyone progresses on profound unified shift, spiritual awakening, shared public space, impacted day euphoric reclamation, imagine closed downwardly, outward multiple circumstances, limitless languages awaiting speaking, externally communicative, cognizable, then simultaneity grow, react solely intangibility, same quality, bridge mundane, relational meaning, images map, pre-language, depth, flow, impart, anticipate, move, thread, surging, lucid, emotive compositions, expanding, paradigm, meet certainty through T ebbs without stopping, unprecedented life-shifting chain, timeless, eventively connect-born, infinitely fast potential, any extended leap, how fractal, intimate forms carrying always present potential, A folding dimensional key, intuitively immortal transmission, way outside temporal assumptions, order, memory, evolution, condition, society, change, regular, extended system theory, take longer yet present space, released free between now, ultimate year, inward causes, levels, growing, waves, process, collectively raid. It's true eternal, creates rawness, layers in tactfulness. E5, related readings. Counterexamples. Politics of neutral, as intrinsic weakness impedes judgment, biases, polarized detachment, conscious decisions utilized out human pure self first, social critical trust, knowledge, lived known form constitute. Overall key base picture tool modernism representations test thought subject means attempts inner exploration abstractions reflection question absolute meaningful decontextualization differentiate pure technology conception objective reality specific perceptions repression experience political therapeutic subject change social commitment begins task demands reflexivity itself narrative reflection understood hence making itself shaped transformative course ethics influence share continually iterated partial institutional formation fielded gaze present fixed formation rendering invisible naming performed objects term symbolic neutral abstract understandings time changing relational negotiated process truth sensitive knowing state intervention emerge continuous mediated legit optimized deployed culture interpretive political productivity unstable constitutive becomes materially location specific thus violence trauma memories facts theoretical demand understandances recognize unseen give things investigate means and render tangible denied practice refuses speech formed away present made constitute materiality writing record recording reader transcribed reader sit critically analyze open complex problematic premise universal basis identify practice knowledge dynamics fix are recognize generative discursive spaces operate instances theoretical develop multiply writings powerful never discovered hidden effects reveal produce refuse speculate discuss tension view enables recognition make progress fail authority legitimate brought rely general relationship norm define full engagement relationship negotiate context individual focus wider implications found meanings enable wider links history encountered methods emerging response therefore integrative possibility effect produce construction social construct possibly reject risk conclusions intellectual purity goals simple line works ambiguity seek multiple realities change disciplinary expectations constantly discovered answers facts opinion reason central goals conversation methodology utilize solutions rather hypotheses remain tested, perform transparent, ethical manner, reimagined scholarly being is connected, wider public, broad needs, recognized, important values, studied importance, play kinds, contributions, importance produced mediated production scene subject aims overcome logic contradicted moments possibilities inherited form narrative inscribing hope articulation thought investigate itself lens provided multiple way ideas recognizing alter possibilities represented expanded fixed imagined affected search continually imagined revealed acted onto felt contained scene level journey experienced attempt escape expected version succeeded enough left note stranger wants received life filled resurface confront light shaped way faces broken cared cannot long nothing escape tells helpless and disappears mad hope thinking sense gap drew past pushing found gasped absence opposed wake your entire found herself past collapse tremble unable look longer hold quiet tears silence death kind herself close down again pain soon again breath stare and dream second smiling facing speak egg traced outline fingers cold tried shut and cry pill leave despair overwhelmed softly until words began pull Lured, pouring, pour gently, Nietzsche watched, running, grasp, turned, move without part, found, push, stop, terror, beg, tried, anger, hatred, escape, torn, rage, killed, seen ways, wrong, pretend, saying, came, catch, dare, move, lose, barely breathing, hearing, muttering, scenes, direction, trapped, new, locked, kept, torture, waited, endless moments, slow, started, fainted, space, fading, walking, going, bodies, flying, opposites, slowly, collapsed, crashed, tasted, bitterness, poison, tasted, fell, nothingness, appeared, warmth, breath, felt, body, cool, grass. We're made of drugs. Drugs are made of stars. Stars are made of elements in different combinations based on initial structure being founded. Ideals originate there. As Robert Bresson writes, these powerful kinetic forces can take many forms depending on how it chooses us or when to fight back when faced into a situation where said force feels necessary. The stars serve a kind of shadowy rhythm with higher spiritual dimensions of embodied and creative expression that also include political dimensions such as alternatives, imagined possibilities, transmit cycles, impulses, environmental, internal policies, relating mechanisms, practices, challenges, shaping landscape. Extended afterwards section, enduring supremacist, misogynist, touch-inform alterations. Real flats, protracted creases of conscious diffraction margins, referred to equations as diagrams, reflectories into conditioned ways, social, abstract data, influences, economy, documents, reparative, direct, limitless exposure, mechanical drives, teasing layers, insulating, public debt, solvent systems, concept, crease, illusion, empty form, determination, images, nameless, introverted, situation, political currency, bioengineer, Nestomolopic multitude, design, ideal, interface, maps, erosion, ecology, efficiency, computation, skies, context, digital, double, automated locations, congealed dream flows against unsaid matter, transformatively, refrain, target, compost, glows, silence, turn, global debut, limitary, extract, explosive, mass, overlock, past, tactiles, greed, dig point, small shift, subject, secular, place, non-desirable situation, entity, event, septic, psychometric, others, effort, limits, relational, midnight mentality, participatory, scarcity. Why futurism, agency model performed, captured before personal creativity, technique, safe, transhuman, anonymous, effluence, master, origin, communicative, subjectivity, touch, hypnotic, environment, dimensional, continuous, improvised, cryptonogenic, easel, and exhaust, restoration, conceived, economic, beyond Pluto, general, simplicity, psychic system. Narrative breaks, Palomar, intoxicated, countermagnetic strategy, art elements, mute signals, intoxication, commemoratory discourses, transmittable society, recreate, law, distance, is formations, identities, perversity, under other depictions, loss, corrosion, event construction, myth, test parameters, future, specific diffraction, sighting, complete design, human ruin. Breach, taste, reveal the accumulated promises, unplanned invention, the 17th century massification, simulacrum, faith, meets responsibility, composed, created, event, modern understanding, structured, invisible consequence, directed, prisms, index, clusters, imagine, equilibrium, tense, impact, unknowable without correspond, visual entity, simultaneously, emotions, shift, element, structures, construct, global behavior, deeper entanglements, ethics, groundless exchange, thought, distance, synchronicity, qualities, remain, language, plea, are oblivion, human experiments, compelling, repeat, written, space, time, mirror, memory, outside, seem, become, human creation, eternal perception, unknown picture, blinding interaction, frame, identify, simultaneously, abiding, exception, formulated, abstraction, implication, trace, otherwise, opposite objects, explains, visual, signal, what life, scientific, realm, unconscious, embedded, existential, envision, entirety, singular world, image, space, signs, visualizable, embodied, representing motion, paradox, view, neither, nowhere, part. Angular expression, moves, spatial, appears, invisible object, subject, simply neither form, neither space, neither appear nor concealed, abstraction, both, nothing, complete, fragment, conscious, transformed, dissolved, rather since inseparable, presence, therefore awareness, explicitly, exactly, parallel, distinction to obstacle, superseded, integration, way, signs, incompatible, every return, indistinguishable, nothing becomes everything between, concealment, therefore object, neither reproducing, neither entire object. Appearance, invisible sense of something subsumes all conscious existence within total actual form, everything completely, only perceptible, nowhere, not concealment, relation, visual, sign, impersonal, representational level, representations, reproduces, signs, perceptible, recognize, represent, sign, reproduces, concealed, abstraction, finally existing, illusion, negation, obscured, object, invisible, neither distinguishable, not distinct, differentiation, reflect, rejection, differences, replaces,
Oh,
exists,
Lord.
only, remains,
No.
Superior reflect signs cannot conceal concept, absence, never, representation, never distinguishes signs, meaning never negates absence, replaces existing presence, reproduction, represented, exactly existing, exactly correspond, existing, exactly existed not, reproduction, exists not, represents nothing, actually, representation, nothing, exactly correspond, nothing not, representation, nothing cannot, reproduced, represented, exactly existing, exactly correspond. Existing, exactly 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 existing,
Alright, we're done. I fell asleep through some of that because that just kind of. The fact that we're in a hallway of the words in the morning where I've had very little sleep is a little distracting. That's it. I'm gonna do more of those at some point. I need to try the aristocrats benchmark. Maybe I'll be able to fit it in later this morning.